If you're a high school student or a parent of a high school student, then you know how expensive it can be to have your kids in sports or really any extracurricular activity. And while schools have budgets for these activities, it's not near enough to cover all the expenses. The Newberg School District is no different. So today I'm talking to Yahn, president of the Newberg Booster Club. The Booster Club is a nonprofit organization whose goal is to support all of the athletic and extracurricular activities at Newberg High School. It's also a parent group for all the students at Newberg High School where you can make friends, have fun, and find support while working to give every student a positive high school experience. Hi, I'm Daniel Roberts, a local realtor in Newberg, a member of the Newberg Noon Rotary Club, an ambassador for our local Chamber of Commerce, and I also have a separate YouTube channel about all the real estate related aspects of this town and Oregon in general. I love this town and I love helping people move here and selling property if they're moving away, which is sad because it's always sad when people leave our wonderful town. But I really love sharing stories about all of the great organizations and people who make this town the great place that it is. And that's really the heart and soul of this podcast, to share stories that inspire people in Newberg and the surrounding area to get involved and ultimately have hope for our future. So I hope you enjoy today's conversation with Jen as we discuss the Newberg Booster Club. Well, thank you, Jen, for joining me today. I'm looking forward to talking about the Newberg Boosters Club. And is that what it is? It is the Newberg Boosters Club.
Yep, Newberg Booster Club. Yeah.
All right. Booster. There's no S on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So can you share a little bit just to start with? What's the Booster Club? How does it work?
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. This is awesome. The Newberg Boosters are...
Wait, so you said Newberg Boosters?
Yeah, I usually... Okay, so we were trying at one point to move away from club because it had this like special connotation where you had to be invited or you had to pay dues in order to attend. So we were trying to rebrand to just be Newberg Boosters and get rid of the club part. But legally, we are Newberg Booster Club.
Okay. Legally the Newberg Booster Club, but...
Yes. Non-legally. Yeah. For Newberg Boosters.
Gotcha. Okay. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, because then it seems a little bit more inclusive. Yeah. So Newberg Boosters is basically the parent group at the high school. We're not your typical parent group where you have to have a student in order to be a part of the group. It's a community organization, so you can have kids there, be a teacher there, be just a coach, just be a community member or supporter. But it's basically a financial support of the student-based clubs, activities, and extracurricular stuff that they like to do.
Okay. And when did that get started?
So our tax ID was issued in 1990.
Okay.
But as far back as I can see, our bylaws are last revised was the 2012. Okay. So that's about as far as I can see back. But I know we got a tax ID number in 1990.
Okay.
So a while.
So it's basically they don't even technically have to be a parent then if they're a teacher?
No.
So it's just kind of a support group for, I guess, aimed at parents, and then teachers can be involved. So what does it look like being a part of the boosters? Because I always kind of thought it was like just fundraising, but it sounds like it's maybe a little more than that.
Yeah. So our job or our mission is to enhance the experience of the students, whether that's financial or just being supportive and recognizing the achievements of the students at the high school. So as a parent, you could volunteer in concessions. And yes, ultimately, that is a fundraiser for us. But it also enhances having that concession stand open, enhances that experience for the students while they're there. Yeah. Everybody loves to have, concession stand open. So it's a very important part to both our fundraising and the experience of the students. We'll do special events at some of our home games, basketball, football, where we'll bring in food trucks and again, have concessions open, but have a booth. Our apparel booth will be there. And that, again, does have a fundraising component to it, but it's definitely secondary to the main purpose, which is to make that more an event and enhance that experience for the students.
Okay. Now, how did you get involved personally with the boosters?
In 2012, I went to the auction and realized this was really cool. This was very inspiring. So I had never been part of a parent group before. And my daughter, we had just moved to Oregon not that long ago. And so we were just kind of getting our feet wet. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try and get involved. And I waited all the way till high school to get involved, which is abnormal. Normally, you're gassed by the time you get to high school. But I went to a meeting and I saw a lot of parents advocating and working really hard for other people's kids. And I thought, that is my jam. I can get behind that. There's not just one sport or activity that we're focused on. It's everybody. And that's what makes it so great, is that you can support everybody's kids, past, future, present. So it's really nice.
Yeah. So you got involved when your daughter was she
She was a freshman. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I have a freshman and then a 3-year-old at the time.
Okay.
And then I got into the auction part, and I loved that. Loved doing the auction. I did the silent auction part, and then eventually transitioned into chairing that activity. And then they let me do a golf tournament, which was always like a dream event for me because once I started doing the auction, I was like, oh my goodness, I really love doing events. And
so, which is awesome because not everyone.
yeah, it's very
present couples included. Nice doing that.
It's very strange, but it was like, I felt really good doing it, and I felt like I was learning a lot about myself and about the community, and so then they let me put the golf tournament on, and then so I think we're going to be in our 5th year or maybe even our 6th year of our golf tournament, which is fantastic. There's not a lot of organizations that are just going to let you come around and be like, I would like to try a golf tournament. I've never done one before, but I read about them.
Yeah.
Can I have some money?
So you started in 2012. Your daughter was a freshman. She graduated
In
said
16, yeah.
16, and you kept.
I kept going. Yeah.
So you had gas left in the tank.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's part of the deal, is that because you don't age out with your kids, you can stick around and they will take you for as long as you want to stay.
Yeah.
For whatever role you would like to do.
And it seems kind of rare too to have someone who's willing to stay. I don't know how many people. I mean, you probably see the turnover.
Yeah.
Do you see kids graduate? And
Yes. But that support of the boosters never goes away. So maybe they have moved on and say, I'm not going to work in concessions anymore, or I'm not going to volunteer at the auction anymore. But that built a community support, right? And so every time you can always still count on them to attend and support and lift up our students. So I think that maybe they're not there, but they are.
Yeah.
Then maybe they're not present in the room, but they're definitely there financially to support. Yeah. That's really great.
Well, what a wonderful culture then. I mean, like you said, it's not just about one thing or one student, but about getting behind all the students. And I think when there's that culture of I'm looking out for everyone else's kids and they're also looking out for my kid. I mean, there's that saying, it takes a village to raise a child. I know it's not to that level, but still just having that support, I think that sounds great.
Yeah. It's interesting to look back at, so our bylaws, let's say the core of them existed in 1990. The mission statement was probably roughly the same as it is today. That value of supporting all the kids existed at its inception. So I think that is really great to know that even back, 34 years ago, that need was still there, right? because of the shape of our community, right? Because we have one high school so all of our kids eventually go there, right? We all meet together at that one high school. I think it's really great to know that even back then, that's what was needed, right? One, we need to a little structure maybe to lift everybody up financially, but that was still the mission statement back then, right? Was for all the kids and not just athletics.
Yeah. And so you also said, so when you started in 2012, that's 11 years ago, and you had a 3-year-old at the time. Mm-hmm. So is your 3-year-old now?
Yeah, he's 7th grade. So he'll be there in another 2 years, a year and a half. That's kind of fun. It's going to be great. I'm so excited.
Like I've been working so long.
I know it has. I'm serving as president now, but it's almost a year earlier than what I was anticipating my service to be. But I think it's going to work out perfectly. I'm surrounded by incredibly motivated and kind volunteers, and very, very lucky to be able to say, this is in a really great place for me to be able to step back and hand off that baton and feel really great about it. So yeah, I'm excited.
So why is there, obviously, I don't know how long the Newberg High School has been around, but longer than the Booster Club.
Definitely longer than that.
And you may or may not know the history, but why is there a need for the Booster Club?
I think a lot of that stems from our population and the amount of tax money that can come into, there's only so much money that can come into the school. And they have to support, they being the district, have to support all of the other schools with that money too. So it's important that that the boosters are there to be able to pay for things or help supplement some of those things that maybe the district can't financially do at this time, or maybe never will be able to do because of the way that things are kind of structured, with our tax situation and housing. And I moved to Newberg because this is what I could afford in 2008, and I don't suspect that my situation is my example is a rare one.
Yeah, well, it's becoming less and less.
Yes, yes, for sure. But so I think that having the boosters helps to not only help to fund things like trips for like the wrestling team to go to Bend to go in a tournament, or basketball team just went to Bend. We sent a water polo team down to California, not just for those, because those are really important, right? Like all those experiences that these kids are getting a chance to do will shape them, right? And some of them are, in their senior year, and some are freshmen. And they get to have this experience, and we get to make that happen. So those things are important. And I don't know that the district would ever be able to fund something like that. So instead of it falling on the parents to fund, you can come to us, and we've kind of crowdfunded for you to make those things happen.
Yeah. Well, I remember being in high school and having to sell, I think we were selling like candy bars. We were selling tickets to like this barbecue. And I'm like, my neighbors don't want to buy this crap.
Yeah. So that's like the one that still exists too, on top of boosters. Yeah. Those teams are still, because of how expensive everything is, right?
Well, some sports are more expensive than
definitely.
Right? So for me, it's football and pads and all the stuff. I remember thinking, well, should the school just, we paid our athletic tier or whatever.
Yeah.
You recognize, wow, things are very expensive.
Very expensive. Your $200 activities fee is not going to cover what it costs. That wouldn't even cover our referees.
Yeah.
So, and those things too, right? We have to take into consideration all the maintenance for our fields and equipment, and making sure everybody's safe. And that's expensive, right? New helmets and safety pads. And
you guys do all that as a booster?
If they come to us, yeah, absolutely. In fact, we've got, we just passed a grant for $5,200 for shoulder pads and it only buys 20 shoulder pads for the football team. And I think we're doing another $11,000 in helmets, which is not even a full team of helmets.
Wow.
It's remarkable how expensive those are. So
Those are still $100, remember?
yeah. Yeah. So if they come to us, we try and find a way to make things happen, as best as we can. We like to say yes.
Darn football players take up all the budget.
Yeah. But, it's the same thing.
I said that just to be the same boat.
Lacrosse netting, right? Then we needed to put up some lacrosse netting so track could practice at the same time that lacrosse is out there. Otherwise, the kids are out there until 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
That's $8,000. Well, that's hard for a team to be able to come up with. So you crowdfund, you go back to the your resource that has helped before, and we make whatever we can happen. Yeah. As often as we can.
So what programs does the Booster Club support?
Everything that the kids. So all student-based activities and athletics. So from STEM to performing arts, FFA. We've sent.
What's FFA?
The farmers.
Oh, yeah.
Future
Farmers of America, is that what it is?
So
let's pretend it is, and just someone else can correct us.
Sounds great to me. But we've sent them to nationals, I think, before. We've sent a couple thespians to national competition. Football, water polo, basketball, softball, volleyball. Whatever ski team, we just had a grant from them this year, dance, cheer. So it's all over the place.
So it's basically say dance, for example. So it's this club or this extracurricular activity. They come and write a grant for a specific need. Is that how it's determined what's allocated?
Yeah. So we review our grants 3 times a year. And the coaches have a grant form that they get from the athletic director, and it's our form, and it tells them what to do, what to fill out, and they turn that form back into the athletic director, who reviews it and says, you either need more support or you should come and present to the boosters if it's a certain dollar amount, we encourage the coaches to come and talk to us if they, we'd love updates, and any chance to brag about the kids is always welcome. And then they turn the form into us, and we review it on our cycle 3 times a year. We'll get them all out, see how much money is in our budget for grants. So we do a budget meeting every July, August for the whole year. So we'll see how much money is left in our grant pool and try and make a way to say yes to all of them.
Okay.
So we always try and give something, even if we can't grant the whole thing.
Yeah.
But having that open communication with the athletic director is key. Yeah. You have to have that relationship, so that way he can go back to the coaches and say what our conversation was, how we reviewed it, and if we needed more information or if we had questions, he can be that communicator with the coaches directly.
And now the athletic director, is that normally because sports just tend to be more expensive and have more expenses that need to be covered?
Yeah. Most of the time they're the ones incurring the most costs, right? With equipment, the trips, fees, registration fees. Our athletic director, and we are unique because of our structure, he is also the activities director. So he would get everything. Okay. If somebody would come, if a club would come to him, he would also have to take a look at that too.
Okay. You mentioned that the Newberg Boosters are a little different than many other parent clubs. So what are, I guess, kind of a twofold question. How is it different? And then what are some misconceptions that you find people often have?
Yeah. I feel like the misconceptions are because of boosters being in our name. It's so common to have that be athletic-based and solely athletic-based. Most places do not support the entire school like in a parent group fashion. So that's how it's similar to a parent group, but also a misconception is that we would just be athletics. Okay. We support everything that the kids are doing. So, and that's been, like I said, from our inception. It sounds like that when people were putting together, when those volunteers were sitting down and putting together what they wanted this group to look like, they wanted to ensure that that it was everybody, that was all inclusive, and So I think that is, a misconception, that all we do is athletics, or that's all we do is football. Absolutely not. Anything they come asking for is what we're here to support. So softball and baseball came recently, so they needed some equipment to be able to play this year. Helmets and backpacks for the softball team, and some netting for the baseball team. So it's not just athletics. Being able to support all the kids is really important. And then how we're different from a regular PTA is because...
What's PTA?
Oh, like a parent-teacher association or a PTO, parent-teacher organization. Yeah, right. Also pay time off. What's there's the Edwards one is it's like Edwards Volunteer Organization, EVO. And I always think like olive oil. That's what I always think of when I think about them, but they have a unique one. So how we're kind of different from a PTO is because you don't age out, right? We are a community-based organization, but our structures are very similar. I served as president over at Crater Elementary for a little while, and the way that we would do grant processes, very similar, right? So we have a pool of money that we've allocated to our grants for the year, and it gets decide how much each one. So our grant review process is very similar, but you don't age out with your kids.
Okay.
So that would be our major difference there. We also don't do, and I don't know that this would necessarily always have to be the case, but we don't do a lot of like the classified appreciation weeks or teacher appreciation weeks. Those are really heavy in the elementary and middle school, and that's not something that we typically do. But there's nothing to say that we wouldn't. We just don't have any budget available for that.
Yeah, because everything's
kind of taken.
Yeah. So what does it look like for parents to be involved? Like, is there like regular meetings where like all the parents come to, or what does that look like?
Yeah. So we meet every third Wednesday of the month at 6:30 at the West Commons at the high school. The West Commons is just next to the main Commons, so it's not too far away.
Slightly west.
Just slightly west of it. When I first came to Boosters in 2012, I was so nervous, and I thought it was going to be like the movies. And it was going to be clicks, and I was thinking they were going to ask me questions, or I was going to have to run a bake sale, or I was just so nervous. And when I got there and there was 10 people in the room, it was like, oh, this is not nearly as scary as I had thought it was going to be. So I think it's important to impart that do your best to not let anxiety win, but we're all there with the right service, heart and mind, right? And we're from all walks, right? There's football parents there's wrestling parents, there's performing arts parents, there's, so we're from all over, and it's not cliquey at all. We're all, we're strangers when we first walk in, right? So we've developed friendships. Some of my best friends now are friends that I've met through Boosters, and I'm incredibly grateful.
How many people typically come now?
About 10 to a dozen, yeah.
Why do you think that? I mean, I know I can guess. I know you're busy as a parent. Why do you think that it's, compared to the number of students at the school, there's only 10? Yeah,
I think reaching parents is really hard right now. And we don't have that same ability when we were at PTO, like when we were in elementary school, where you could print a flyer and put it in your kid's backpack and send it home with them, right? So we don't have that same outlet. Everything's electronic, and I think we're all a little gassed on the electronic communications. So
podcast.
This is helping. So I think that part of it is that maybe they're harder to reach. I think COVID didn't do anybody any favors, right? With just being able to now re-entry back into your life before and whether or not you want that life you had before, right? We maybe lost some of our leadership because they got a break and realized, oh, this is kind of nice. I don't have to keep working and working and working. But I do see things changing and shifting. People coming back to, that service, that call, that they felt before. And, Newberg parents, they do not let you down. Anytime you need something, that your sign up may look blank until the day before and you're stressing out. But I guarantee you they will always show up. So no matter if you do it, they will come. It is a real thing.
Interesting.
That
sounds stressful.
You think so, right? Yeah, you're like,
you trust them.
I trust them. They always show up. So I know that I try and keep in mind that everyone is carrying a load that they may not be able to carve out more time, right? And so it's important for us to remember that when we can get in that room, we're in that room for everybody that can't be there.
That's a good perspective.
It's just really important to remember that maybe they want to be here and just can't right now. So instead of letting that, I can't believe there's only 10 of us here again.
And sorry, I didn't mean it that way. Like, why is there only 10?
Yeah.
But I was just curious because I know with every organization, there's always a very small minority that's really involved. Yeah. I was just curious, is there a way that, like, when new parents come, like with a new freshman or they're new to the district, that there's outreach saying, hey, this is an opportunity? Or is it like, no, that's too much to handle? Because that's a lot of outreach.
Yeah. So we go, the athletic director puts some of our information in the This Week in Newberg Nation email that he sends out every week. So he has our contact information listed in there. This year we did the freshman orientation at the high school. They did a welcome night. And so we got to meet a lot of parents, and that was awesome. So I think anytime we can be out is the best way. In person is always the best way. We'll be at Tunes on Tuesday for a few nights. We're going to be in the parade, the Old Fashioned Festival parade. Fun. So yeah, it's so great. The kids come out and it's awesome. So anytime that we can be in the community, that recognition is huge, right? And then people will start to filter in. Some of them are, think of the juniors now, I believe. Some of those parents have never really even been at the school because of COVID being, closed for so long, right? So that there's all that newness.
Yeah.
So we did lose a lot. Yeah. A lot of experiences that we weren't able to do. So.
Well, and I think maybe just not having an understanding, or if you're so busy and you're like, what is that about again?
Yes.
Am I really welcome? Like, yes. You thought if they're just afraid of, I don't want to get off.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I thought it was going to be in the auditorium. And no, I had all these, I was like mortified. And this is much more approachable.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this is a podcast is a way that people that do show up can share with their friends and get more people involved. Because I think the more you have people involved, and that's a great way for parents. I mean, parents need support too.
Yes.
And I think that's something that our kids are young, but we would just recognize you need other parents around. One, to, I don't know if commiserate is the right word, but like encourage you to hey, you're not alone.
Yeah.
My kid does the same thing.
It's the same thing.
And because I think there's, in this age, this is a kind of big tangent, but in this age of social media and just, I mean, parents are in it as just as much as the kids, maybe even if they're not on TikTok.
Yeah.
But that real, I feel like moms get it worse. Like, you feel like you're going to get judged as a mom.
Yeah.
Like the bar is so low for dads, but it's so high for moms a lot of times that everyone's just worried about being judged. And so want to.
It's that Instagram lifestyle, right? Where you're only posting those positives. Yeah. Well, it's good to know, that what's great, and I think that's probably why I've made so many amazing friends, is because we've been able to share, those the highs and the lows, with our kids and our kids' experiences, and so I think that's really important. to have that connection still and not just beyond. I mean, we're all Facebook friends, but
That doesn't mean anything anymore,
Yeah.
honestly. Oh, they liked my post about this terrible thing I'm going through.
yeah, that's
Much better.
sweet. So, yeah, I think that, we've definitely put a lot on ourselves to, live up to an expectation that it just isn't real. There is no expectation. You're not in control.
Yeah.
You are not a reflection of your kids' decisions, right? Especially at 16, 17, 18, we carry a heavy burden, and it's just not true. You're not alone out there. And there's all sorts of us that went through all the good and all the bad.
Yeah. So the boosters might as well as be called the parent support group.
When they're old, when they're at that age, for sure, there's definitely no one ever says no to a happy hour.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I'm in the three-nager stage of now. My kids are actually straddling that at 2 and 4, but going through the threes, and I'm like, wow, I can only imagine this when they can articulate the way a teenager can, and have the same like, well, now my argument is much more sophisticated, and I also can't physically grab you and put you to where you.
Right. Yep. You cannot do anything. You just ride it out.
Yeah.
Just try and keep your cool.
Well, I hope this is, if you're listening to this, I hope this is an encouragement for whatever you are, if you're a parent or whatever stage you're at, because you're not alone.
Yes.
Whether you have a three-nager or a teenager.
Yeah.
So getting back to boosters.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, that was my fault. I digress many times. But what are some of the ways that you guys do fundraising?
We do the auction, which is usually in March, and we just had that and raised $63,000. $11,000 of that is designated to the weight room improvement project that the school is going to be doing. They're going to be putting in a roll-up door and some new flooring and some new equipment, which is long overdue. I think our last time we did anything in there was 2012. Oh, wow, okay. So we are ready. We're ready for some expansion. So we're really happy about that. Our goal was $7,500 for that, and
oh wow,
Newberg parents crushed that.
Wow.
So I'm telling you, they always show on.
Kids need to get stronger.
Oh, it's used by all the students because it's part of class. So it's great, and I think that's why you can kind of really garner that kind of success, right? Is making sure that it has a wide footprint and hits a lot of students. So we just had our auction, and now we'll be moving into golf, which will be August 20th. And that is at Chehalem Glen here in town. And we'll do a cornhole tournament at the same time. So you don't miss anything. If you have FOMO, you can come and hang out. I got a whole separate tournament for you, and that's going to be run by our performing arts crew this year. Yep. So we've got...
that would be me, because my golf swing is like a baseball bat. That's 60 degrees.
Yeah. So, and the cornhole is so fun. It's a tournament style, and it ends at the same time that the golfers are coming back. So then everybody has lunch together, and they get awards and stuff. And we do a helicopter ball drop at that event, which is just like a really fancy raffle, like a 50-50 raffle style. So if your ball goes in the hole and your number's on there, you win 50% of whatever we raised. And that's typically around a $2,000 payment to our winners.
Oh, wait, so how does that, so it has to drop like over like a hole? Like a
hole? Yeah.
And
so we have
what if none go in, or what for them?
Whatever closest.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So we do have, a hole. The golf course puts a hole out for us, and I tell the helicopter guy where to go. And last year they did an insane air show for us before dropping the balls. It was amazing. And we dropped the balls out, and we grabbed the one that was closest, and they win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever had one that go in?
Yes. Our first year we did it, 3 of them went in.
Oh, wow. So how does that work?
Just split it up by 3.
Okay. That's fun.
Don't overthink it.
Yes.
Just write a check. So we've got golf, and then concessions. So our concession stand, anytime it's open, it's a fundraiser. So that is ongoing all year long. We'll also be trying to bring we want to bring the turkey fumble back.
Okay, what's that?
It has been a Newberg community event for years and years and years, and then COVID kind of took it out. We're working on connecting with that gentleman that ran it to see if boosters could take it on as a fundraiser around Thanksgiving, which might be kind of fun because we've got the grandstand and the nice turf, so no one's all muddy. But it would be like mini events inside that area there. So yeah, be kind of a fun little before.
For what I was imagining, like playing football with a raw turkey.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Gross.
Sounds pretty gross.
Interesting to watch.
Hopefully a cold day. So we're thinking about bringing something like that for around Thanksgiving. And then we just kind of continue, then it rolls right into the auction again. So the auction kind of takes over everybody's life from December until April.
So how much are you typically able to raise each year?
With all together, it all kind of depends. If we did 60 in, I bet we're probably $120,000 bring in every year. And that might even be like COVID numbers, if we were being honest. Because
which I'm guessing we're lower.
Lower, like during COVID would have been low. So we probably would only brought in, because we wouldn't have had concessions. We would have just had golf and a remote auction. So we were probably 50, 60,000.
Okay.
But paying out a lot less, right?
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of expenses there, but not a lot of income coming in. So I know that, we've kind of dropped off a little bit, but I bet we're on an average between 100 and 120,000.
Which makes a huge difference when that's all those chocolate bars and oranges.
Definitely. Yes, for sure. And they still have to. I mean, that's the sad thing is that they still have to do it even with our help. We're working on, we want to upgrade the sound system at the grandstand. So that's going to be an all year round fundraiser for us, is to try and replace the sound system at the grandstand so everybody can hear what they're saying. Because currently you can't really hear.
Okay.
Unless you're right there. It is important. And, it's really nice to have a nice sound system for graduation, because that's where our graduation ceremony is held. And so that one will be going all year. That one's got a goal of 70,000. So we're hopefully going to find a volunteer that'll help to just lead that charge, because that's going to be a little bit more involved, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily the piecemeal fundraising, but maybe if we want to seek some sponsorships or something for that, need a leader in that regard.
Yeah. So you mentioned a lot of the different fundraisers and opportunities. Are there any other ways that parents or community members can get involved other than just doing the fundraisers and coming to Thursdays?
Attendance is everything, right? So let's say you can't come to a meeting, right? Can't work in concessions, no problem. When those events roll around, the best way is to just attend. Be present, bring your friends, share those things that you see on social media, because you have an incredible sphere of influence, and you maybe don't even know how people look up to you. But when you share something, or if you say you're going to go to something and your friends see that leaves an impression, and that maybe sparks and they want to get involved. So I think the most important thing is, maybe you can't do these small things, but when you see those events coming around, share them and buy a ticket, come and support us. It's always a great time. We try and cater to our guests as much as we can to make their experience really positive.
I think it's easy to underestimate the impact of those small things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think everyone maybe has the impression that nobody cares what their opinion is, but I can assure you are wrong. There are absolutely people that look.
No one. If you think no one cares, you're wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong. Everyone. We really do. And I know that when, just from my experiences, when I have friends that share or attend, really sparks that I would like to, somehow support that. And I have a shared value in that cause, or I've always wanted to get involved and I'm too afraid, or my kid's already a senior. We missed all these years. Like, that's all right. Come on over. We'll have lots of fun. Make up for all that lost time. So just getting involved is as easy as sharing. And of course, we'd always love you to come to the events. Those are so fun.
Yeah. Well, you're right in the thick of everything going on with the schools and everything. And given your position, what gives you hope for the future of Newberg, both with the schools and students, but also just Newberg as a whole?
I think it's just my belief that the parents will always answer the call. They will always step up. And just knowing that gives you, confidence and peace that everything will be fine. They're always going to be there. And like I said, like your sign up can be frightening. And then I can assure you, you will get text messages and you will have more volunteers than what you need. So I think that is my takeaway, that we're always there, even though maybe we forget to say so, right? They're always going to show up. They just ran out of time to do it. Everyone's doing a lot right now. So I think that gives me lots of hope, because no one's ever let me down. I've never had to run an event by myself.
Well, you do a great job of leading by example.
Yeah,
too.
I'm very lucky. I've had some incredible mentors, incredible people that have shown me all their ways of leadership, and I'm very lucky.
Very humble way of putting it. Well, thank you for all you do. Thanks for taking the time today, and look forward to getting the message of the Newberg Boosters out to the community.
Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next episode.